So Wemby just had himself a night versus the Wizards. What does that mean moving forward?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. And happy Friday, TGIF, everybody. Hope y'all are doing great. We want to thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. Seriously, pick a platform. Ken's 5 Plus app, we are there. Go subscribe right now. And also check out the newsletter. Locked On Spurs newsletter is now officially launched. It's in the description below. If you're on the YouTube side of things, click on that. It's free. It's a nice little companion piece to Locked On Spurs. So what are we talking about today? We're going to be discussing Wemby's big night. What does it mean moving forward? Is this a sign of, well, the league's better be, on watch out now because Wemby's coming? Is it just a one-off thing? Because they were playing the Wizards, now 2-8 Wizards. So we're going to be discussing that. And then look at tonight's game, Spurs and Lakers. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Yeah, you want to go to FanDuel right now. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. You just have to win that first $5 bet. You want to go to FanDuel.com to get started. Yeah, Wemby, huh? Woo, what a night for the big man. 50 points, career high, joins a 50-point club. He said that he's honored to be in it last night, how great it is to do it. But interestingly enough, though, he said that he likes to enjoy those type of moments, but with wins and moving forward with progress. So, again, a sign that this kid is mature beyond his years. A little bit of a mixed bag, though, for him. Hitting those threes. He hit about 8 for 16, about 50%, was knocking down the mid-range shot, was being a menace in the paint. And that's what we've been waiting for, to see that type of Wemby, just doing it all on the offensive end, no matter where he's at. But do we have to caution ourselves? Is this, one of those things? Like I said, it was against the lowly Wizards. They give up like 100-plus points a game. You got a rookie SAR on him. Valanciunas. I mean, he's slower than Wemby. But, you just got to wonder, can he be consistent? Is this something that's going to happen? Because we saw this last season. He drops a big game versus Phoenix. Then he went quiet for a while. And then he had another game. So we're going to be discussing that with our guest. He is Hector Ledesma. He is back, everybody, after a little bit of a hiatus. He was just busy with high school football, but high school football is over. He's back here to talk silver and black. And he read his text and he responded to text. Because, Hector, you were supposed to come out last week.
Bro, you're throwing me under the bus. I love it. I love it. No, in all honesty, I and for everybody watching, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. You'll get a text and you'll answer it mentally.
Yeah.
And then you'll go back a couple of days later and you're like, oh no, I never actually responded. I responded mentally, but I didn't actually put, type back or whatever. What is it called, typing on your phone?
Yeah, type. Yeah. I guess the kids still call it that. Yeah.
Whatever. I was like, hey, I didn't type Jeff back. So my sincere apologies, man. Yeah, the high school football season has me going, pretty crazy. I'm lucky enough to do games every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes multiple games on Saturdays. And so all that had me running. Plus, still doing work for Clutch Points, and still doing the KLRN news thing as well. And so all combined, yeah, man, it's been frantic. But luckily, it lines up to where like the tail end of the high school football regular season lines up with the start of the Spurs season. So again, apologies, man. I really sorry.
Not a problem. When I ran into you at the Frost and I saw you, I think you were sitting the opposite end of the room with me in the media room, and I was like, "Where you been?" Where you been? I thought something happened. I was getting worried. Did something happen to him personally? Is he okay? That's not Hector to reply. But then again, I've known you for years. I should have suspected that you had one of those mental breakdowns. And I'm like, okay, I looked at the text, but into my head, I responded to it.
I responded mentally.
But nevertheless, you are back. That's all that matters. Yeah, as he mentioned right now, he's a Spurs writer for Clutch Points, covers the Spurs for that outlet. He'll talk about that later on the show. We'll give him his time to shine about what he does for you guys, Spurs fans across the globe. And make sure to follow him on X at Hector Ledesma TV. Do that right now. So, Hector, why are you here? Well, we're going to be discussing Wemby and the Lakers game. We'll do that in a bit. But first, Wemby, a couple of nights ago, he had himself a game, 50 points. You knew it was special when that three ball was falling early in the first half. And I think he had like 20 something after one. You saw this 50 burger coming. Here's what I think. I think I need to pump the brakes. I need to pump the brakes a bit. I loved it. I had fun with it. I was there. I got to witness history. Way to go, Wemby. But I've seen this before. We saw this last year where he had a phenomenal game versus the Suns, and then he got kind of quiet. So I'm not trying to rain on the parade. I'm just saying, hey, Wemby, you did well, but you were a number one pick. You're a generational pick. You got to do this. You're the franchise guy. You got to anchor this team as best you can, game in, game out. So I'm applauding you, Wemby, but do it again versus the Lakers. Do it again versus the Dallas Mavericks. Be that force. What about you?
So he's not, you look at his last three games, he shot from beyond the arc. He's been 6 of 9, 6 of 12, and 8 of 16. He's not going to shoot, you don't think, 50% every single game the rest of the season, right? That's just not going to happen. But Jeff, I think he's found his stroke.
Yeah, for sure.
And really that's what was missing early on. It really is a simple game. Early on when the shot wasn't falling in, it started with that season opener at Dallas, right? You can still kind of point to that because that sticks out vividly. That was not only the season opener, but it's the start of year two for Vic. And you're expecting, hey, monster things and et cetera, especially coming off the gold medal game and, and all that good stuff. So once he struggled there and he saw the struggles continue, all it really was his shot really wasn't going down. Yes, his handle was a little bit rusty. Yes, he was a little bit winded in spots. Yes, he could have gotten to different spots at different points. But for the most part, his shot wasn't going down. That was the umbrella under which his offensive struggle started. I think, Jeff, he's finding his stroke. And if I'm everybody else, that's reason for concern because if he shoots lights out consistently, and again, though he's not going to shoot 50% from 3-point range every game, if he shoots 40% every game, high 30s just about every game, the rest of the league's in trouble. We've been saying this for the last year and a half and leading up to it, and when he does this and when he does that, everybody else look out. But if he's going to become this good a shooter already, he really at that point becomes unguardable. So I think in that respect, I think there's reason for Spurs fans to be really elated about what they're seeing because, in other words, his post game, the way he flashes, him coming up top of the key, that kind of thing isn't going to slump. Shooting will slump. But if he becomes a guy to where a shooting slump is, he went 3 of 7 from 3-point range, and that's a slump, or he went 6 of 19 from the field, or 6 of 15 from the field, and that's a slump. Then I think he puts the Spurs in a very good position to feed off of him and enjoy success they did not enjoy last year.
And as much as he had himself a game, you liked just the support he got from his teammates. Champagne just going to stop. Just praising him for the event, for the game that he had. Chris Paul saying I've seen kind of these games before, but never that fast. We got to put that in perspective. He hit 50 points, the fastest ever, or at least among the fastest ever in the NBA history. Now, do we have? Again, we're not trying to rain on Wemby's parade, but it was against the Wizards. Now they're 2-8. They had a rookie star on him. Valanciunas, who was slower than him. They didn't really have that much firepower to defend him. Although after the game, Washington's head coach Keefe said they tried everything. Jonas Valanciunas even said once he started knocking down the shot, it was pretty much over. But I just caution Spurs fans to say like I said, we saw this last year. Remember that Phoenix game? Everybody's like, "Oh, Wemby's coming out party. Look at that, he's phenomenal." Then he kind of went quiet for a while. Well, for his standards, quiet. But overall, I liked it. It was a bright spot for the Spurs season, considering right now Popovich is not feeling well, dealing with a mild stroke. Spirits were kind of down. I think this boosted the team and whatnot. I just need to see this consistently. Consistently, he went from 1 for 5 shooting early in the season to having a 50-night game. And there's a lot of gap in between all that. So if he could do that again versus the Lakers, it's the Mavericks, that's good. Look, I know he's not going to hit 50. That's not going to happen again.
Right.
But although, Hector, if he did, I would not be surprised. If we're talking again next week, like, oh, so Wemby hit another 50 game, sure, I can buy that. But going against stiffer competition, that's where he needs to rise up his game, because if the Spurs are on the path to get out of the rebuild and face the big boys of the league, they got to do that starting now. And if he can do that against your Thunders, your Bostons, your Denvers, then yeah, Wemby definitely is the future of the league, not necessarily the Spurs.
I think there's no doubt he's the future of the league, Jeff.
Yeah.
Like, I think I mean, you can put that to rest. The question is, when does the future get here?
Yeah.
That's the main question. Let me go back to something else about the you wanting to see it more often, or wanting to see it consistently, I should say, right?
Yeah.
You make total sense. But let me ask this. Let me put it this way. How many guys in the NBA are capable in an NBA game of going 6 of 9,
Yeah.
then 6 of 12, then 8 of 16 from beyond the arc?
Yeah. Very few.
That list is very short. Steph, Luka.
Yeah. Maybe
who else?
Jalen. Maybe Jalen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the list of guys who are capable of going 3 of 6, 6 of 9, 6 of 12, and 8 of 16 from 3-point range. That's it. The fact that he can do it tells you something. Number one.
Yeah.
The fact that he's doing it at 20 lets you know that by and large, even more reason to totally to the fact that he is the future of not only the Spurs but the NBA.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's able to do it without really, if you look at, it's not like he's shooting like this because of the threat of the inside game and it's flashing it either. That is going to come. That is going to get better with time. He's never going to be, because of his length and his game, and he prefers to shoot from outside. He's never going to become, well, when it comes to Vic, you should never use the word never in terms of what's happened down the line. But it's unrealistic to think that he's going to become Hakeem with footwork anytime soon.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
That ain't going to happen. He's going to develop. His post game will get better, but it will never be Hakeem or Tim Duncan like down on the block. His slashing will never become Kobe like.
Right.
But those elements of his game, his off the ball play will never be Steph Curry like. But those elements of his game, and listen to the names I'm throwing out there.
Oh, yeah.
Hakeem, Tim, Kobe, Steph.
Yeah,
I'm going to be using those types of names in this context, right? Like, that tells you a lot. But although his game's never going to get to those areas of his game are never going to get to that legendary of status, they are going to continue to improve to where it's going to be extremely effective. And it's going to open his 3-point shot even more.
For sure.
So he's doing all of this while he's not one-dimensional. He's doing it with a game. His shooting right now is better than any other part of his offensive game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And he's able to do all of this with just that one element of his offensive game being head and shoulders above other aspects of his game. So he's only going to get better, and his shots, he's only going to get more freedom on that shot and more space on that shot as he continues to grow.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that is absolutely, the shot is falling for him, at least in the last few games. We'll see how it fares against the Lakers tonight, but I think that is exactly what the team wants out of him. Yeah, we're going to be discussing that when we get back. We're going to be discussing more of Wemby's big night. What does it mean moving forward with Hector Ledesma? Make sure to follow him on X at Hector Ledesma TV. Hey, but I want to talk to you about Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get rates that perks usually reserve for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have it all. Great menu, cold drinks, hot drinks, coffee, the signature drink, Mudslinger, iced lattes. Pick something you're craving, they'll have it. Check out the menu. We're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member, serving San Antonio the best coffee in the city. Go there right now, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have the Lightning Bolt series, which includes the Alien, which is a drink made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. You got to try it. Speaking of which, hey, they have these drinks like a Lightning Bolt series. They're going to be containing Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts. That gives them flexibility to create new drinks. But if you want Red Bull, you just tell them and they'll put it in there. But the default will be Lotus Energy. Go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. They even got mini donuts. Best spot in the city to get yourself some coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio. Follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Go there right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
This is Emilio Rivera, the Padrino for the Mayans MC. You are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Hector Ledesma. Make sure to follow him on X at Hector Ledesma TV. He is a Spurs writer for Clutch Points, and he finally answered my text to come on Locked On Spurs, and I'm very glad about that. We're talking about Wembanyama and his 50.9 and what does it mean moving forward. Look, this was coming. You saw this type of explosion on the horizon leading into the Wizards game. He's been having multiple scoring, double-figure scoring nights. He had a 30 in there as well, multiple 20-plus points. It looks like he was starting to get his rhythm, and we talked about that a lot to start the season. What did you hear out of the Spurs, out of Wemby? My rhythm. I had a long summer. My rhythm. I'm not used to playing with these guys. I'm barely getting in the court with them. He didn't play that much in the preseason. You had Chris Paul saying, I haven't really gelled with Wemby yet. So you factor that in. Also, too, the Spurs signal to – no, they flat out told us. Chris Paul flat out said. So Pop told us that we want Wemby playing outside of the paint a lot more. And, we're going to catch him every once in a while in the paint. But, the idea is to be more of a perimeter player. Then Wemby acknowledged it. And Wemby even said, hey, I'm not going to be shooting 66% one night and then all the time and then 25% the next time and then all day. We have to be happy we're somewhere in the middle, and you can't go too high or too low on his shooting performances. I think this year, this is the experiment. Last year was Sohan at point guard. This year could be Steph Curry, Wemby. I think that's what it could be. Just let him shoot. Let him open up that game for him because, frankly, there's not that many space creators on this roster. Maybe Champagny, a little bit of a sell, but there's not those deep threats, those constant threats. So Wemby's probably thinking like, all right, he's going to pull the Thanos. If somebody's got to do it, I'll do it myself, and puts on that glove, and he's going to create his own space. And that's what I like about it. He's creating his own space, Hector.
Well, I think it's a continuation. It's the next step from last year. You know how last year they just let him figure it out, right? Yeah. Where are you most comfortable? You just go play, and we'll play around you, and we'll see what you've got, essentially. We'll see how good you are, right? I think going into this year, the thought was we saw that he is most comfortable on the perimeter, which was no shock. You kind of saw that from the way he played, over in France and his skill set.
Sure.
So I think Pop and the coaching staff looked at it and said, okay, we have two choices here. He is much more comfortable on the perimeter and when he's facing the basket, so we can lean on that, and the rest of his game will continue to develop. Or we could try to force him into being somebody who's much more inside because of his height and because of, common sense when it comes to basketball, and we can work on that. But in doing that, that might diminish his effectiveness of not only what he's, where he's comfortable, but his impact on our team. Because, duh, the Spurs are going to be better when he's scoring 26
Oh yeah.
and going 9 of 19 from the field, as opposed to scoring 16 and, going 8 of 22 from the field because he's in uncomfortable spots, right? It
Yeah.
benefits him, it benefits the team. So I think they thought, have him face, have him face. We'll go off of that.
Yeah.
That is where Wemby's going to be. So that's what this year is last year it was, let's figure things out. Hey, let's work on this. Let's work on that. Let's try this. Let's try that. Yeah, you're doing that this year, but to a lesser extent. This year it's, we know what he wants to do. We know where he likes the ball. We have a guy who can get him the ball in those spots
Oh yeah.
more frequently. And so let's take full advantage and let's roll that way. And I think what you're seeing right now is a year of having observed, let him get more comfortable, and let him go. This is the first step of that. That doesn't mean they're not going to continuously work on his post game. That doesn't mean that they're not going to continuously work on where he is off the ball.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're not going to continuously work on his positioning and everything else that comes with the offensive side of the floor. But they've decided, and he's chimed in as well, that this is where he's most comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, he's pretty much said that since the beginning of his NBA career. Yeah, I'm not a five. I'm not a five. Don't stick me in that category if I'm just
The
a
traditional
five.
five,
Yeah,
right?
he kept on saying it over and over again. And the Spurs, like, he's Wemby. What Wemby says, Wemby gets. They let him roam around last season, and now he's showing off that he can be a perimeter threat. And it just mind boggling to see, like, okay, once he gets it together, he gets the body, NBA ready, because he added some size, yeah, but he still has ways to go in that department, and perhaps understands how NBA defenses are coming at him this year, because this year they're definitely swarming him. They put in little guys on him. They're doing whatever they can. I saw a triple team last night or a couple nights ago versus Washington. So, and he gets used to that. I think the next step for him is not just the outside shooting, but the facilitating. He had a couple of nights where they're low assists. I'd like to see him getting more involved in that direction. Cut the turnovers. That's not just a Wemby thing. That's just a Spurs thing. The Spurs are coughing the ball a lot this year, but Wemby's not helping that cause. And yeah, Hector, I like that he hits threes, but man, you're the tallest, what out there. You should be using that 7'3", wingspan like the Tower of the Americas in San Antonio to your advantage. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that in recent games, Hector. But before we get Hector's take on that, we're going to talk about FanDuel. Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel.com right now. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So much when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You just got to go to FanDuel.com right now. Speaking of FanDuel.com, look, the NBA season is also around the corner. Spurs fans, time to have some fun with your silver and black on the court. The app is very easy to get, very easy to use, user-friendly, very intuitive. Make your picks, 1, 2, 3. Bet on parlays, bet on win spreads, totals. I mean, seriously, you can have so much fun with sports this sports season with FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book. You just got to get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Yeah, you'll get started with that. And when you place your first $5 bet, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Another reason why you got to go to FanDuel when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Go to FanDuel.com right now, America's #1 sportsbook. We're back, and we're here with Hector Ledesma. Follow him on X at Hector Ledesma TV, and do that right now. Or you could just look at his profile and be like, oh, yeah, that's how I follow, and then just don't follow. Kind of like what he did with me with answering the text. So other than that, do that right now, and make sure to check out his work on Clutch Points. He is a Spurs writer. Now, before the break, we talked about Wemby just being the biggest, what out there, tallest, longest wingspan. Does he need to do more of that moving forward? Getting in that paint. Yeah.
Yes, and he will. You see it already. There's times where he flashes and he gets the ball in certain spots, and there's nothing the defender or the defense at large can do to stop him. you're gonna continue to see it, Jeff. But as he's learning, the great thing about where Vic is right now is that while he's improving, he's already pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's putting up 50 while he's getting better.
Yeah.
And so the other areas of his game are going to improve. It's just a matter of what the defense is showing on that particular night, what the Spurs are looking to do, what kind of a flow they're in, I guess more specifically, and where he fits into all of that. But yes, he's continuously working on different aspects of his game.
Yeah, and hopefully that next aspect will be cutting down the turnovers and more work in the paint. But so far, Wemby, you are doing great. Hey, Hector, the Spurs and Lakers, they face off today. I believe it's the NBA Cup game. So that fancy court will be out there, everybody. And it looks, by the way, thumbs up. Good job, Spurs, in redesigning that court. NBA, whoever did that, chef's kiss. That's an awesome NBA Cup court for the Spurs. But it should be fun. I don't know if Anthony Davis will be playing, but nevertheless, you'll still have LeBron James, Wemby, the star power will be there. It's an early game, everybody. So, yeah, you would get out and enjoy your weekend a little sooner if you're at the game. I like the momentum heading into tonight's game. The Spurs are really feeling themselves. This homestand, I think, is doing great for them. I think this game is going to be fun. It may even come down to the final frame. But Wemby, LeBron James, the star power is there. Man, I'm going to go with the Spurs. I'm going to go with the Spurs getting the W. Wemby's on a roll. The Spurs are on a roll. Chris Paul, by the way, in my opinion, is really surprising me this season. I thought he'd just be one of those 8 points, but like 12 assists, and, that's about it. He's actually doing both. He's giving you double-figure scoring, double-figure assists. Champagne's been shooting lights out to start the season. All in all, even without Sohan, the defense is there. Of course, you got the human eraser, Wemby, so that should be easy. Nevertheless, good game tonight. Spurs win a close one, though.
It's going to be fun to watch. The Lakers have been better this season.
Yeah.
For all the talk last year about disappointment and this and that, and where are they? I mean, and especially the last 3 games. They're just coming off that win against Memphis. They've won 3 straight. I know they had a little bit of hiccup before that. They lost the Grizzlies and lost to Detroit before that. But for the most part, they've been pretty good. They started the season with back-to-back with 3 straight wins against Minnesota, Phoenix, and Sacramento. So it'll be, with the Lakers, it's always, LeBron's going to be LeBron, right? And it's always a matter of what the other guys are going to give them. You mentioned Anthony Davis. There's always the question, is he going to play? Yeah, what's his status like? Austin Reeves, you pretty much know what Austin Reeves is going to be. So it all depends on the Lakers and how good they are that night, if you will. Maybe, I think it's too early to say, especially considering their troubles last year. I think it's very easy to say that, hey, sorry about that. I think it's very easy to say that they're a team that, we'll wait and see. Mm-hmm. We'll wait and see how things go and see just how good they are. But based on last year, but if the early season is any indication, I think they're probably going to be pretty good. I think you can expect to see them contend for the better part of the season.
Yeah. It's going to come down to the Spurs defense, and that's been kind of the bread and butter so far this start of the season. Wemby's coming on, but as of right now, defense is helping them win games. I bring that up because the Lakers, I got it right here, are averaging 116.6 points per game. That's good for 7th in the NBA. Spurs ranked 25th in that department. Their offense has kind of been to start the season. They average about 107.2. So it's going to have the Spurs defense is going to have to rise up. And especially with no Sohan, that just means, not aside from Wemby, other guys going to up their defensive focus. Other than the Lakers, they're ranked 8th in the NBA in field goal percentage at 47, while the Spurs are 18th at 46. And let's look at the 3-point line, because Hector, that's been my bugaboo with this team, that 3-point line. Either they're making them or they're not defending it. Spurs are near the bottom of the league at 35% shooting from the 3 line, while the Lakers are near upper crust, 17th at 35. So I think it's going to come down to defense. Based on those stats, Spurs defense has to rise up, get the W, keep this little winning streak they got going, and take advantage of the long homestand. He is Hector Ledesma with Clutch Points, Spurs beat writer. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Just continuing to write for Clutch Points, contributing here and there to Spurs broadcast, mainly on FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of high school football games still left on my end. I know it's not basketball or Spurs related, but just that's, got a couple of teams that we cover pretty closely are expected to make pretty deep runs in the playoffs. So yeah, got that. And then also do some news for KLRN as well. So yeah, all in all, just kind of, running around.
Well, and then so you put all that, and I said, okay, I understand why, you got a little confused. You got a lot on your plate. And also, too, you see me pretty much at least 3 times a week at the Spurs games. So
yeah, now that the Spurs are starting again, like it's I'll see you a whole lot more often as opposed and it'll be harder to forget. Oh yeah, I didn't actually answer the text. Yeah. It was the mental answer.
Yeah.
I do that with emails all the time too. Like I'm off. I'll look back and I'll be like, you know what? I never responded to that. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem, Hector. I'm just glad you're back here on Locked On Spurs. It's been a while, and I'm glad you took some time out of your schedule to hop on here and talk all things silver and black. Hey, we'll be back next week talking all things silver and black as the Spurs season continues. Hopefully, Wemby's having a good game. NBA Cup games are starting up. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to your San Antonio Spurs. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. You know where to go. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus app. Seriously, pick a platform where you're there. Don't forget about the Spurs, Locked On Spurs newsletter, I should say. The link is in the description on the YouTube side of things. Just click on that. Again, it's a nice little companion piece to Locked On Spurs. Just a daily newsletter for y'all to enjoy and as well as enjoy Locked On Spurs. But for Hector Ledesma, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.